I want to introduce Martin. He's going to talk about himself, about who he is, how he came to know about dry fast, what dry fast has done to him, and what other things that he has included in his practice. Because he told me something that was very fascinating when he said that he has done 9 days dry fast. How many times, by the way, Martin? Is it 7 times or 9 times?
Uh, I did I did lots of 7-day dry fast, then I did an 8.5-day dry fast, then I've done 7 9-day dry fast, and I just finished the 7th one about 5 days ago, so I'm still quite tired. I'm not firing on all cylinders yet. I'm still recovering from that latest dry fast.
Wow,
So,
wonderful! Congratulations.
and I've done them the 9-day dry fast. So I've done them fairly close together, and I don't think anybody really knows. And I'm starting to make them longer apart now, because I did them every 3 months. I did a 9-day dry fast every 3 months, and then the last one, because of circumstances, I waited 5 months. And from now on, I think I'll do them 3 times a year rather than 4 times a year, to give myself time to build up enough fat and body weight to be safe on the dry fast. So yeah.
Very important. That part of building up the body, actually, the reserves of the body. During the fast, the body somehow fasting makes it like use what is in the reserve. So this is very important information. I've been telling most of the people. I always tell them that there are some birds that migrate to Africa from Europe. Before they come, they eat and they get their weight almost twice, because during the time of this migration, to breed, they're migrating to breed. They have to get enough, because enough of fat, because at the time they'll be flying, it is going to be somehow not eating as usual. The food that they're going to get is very scarce. It's like sometimes you get, sometimes you miss, sometimes like that. So that journey has to be that's part of preparation. That's part of preparation for such a long journey. It's the same with dry fast. People need to prepare before that. And one of preparation that people always leave or ignore is this thing, is what you have just talked about. People talk about detox, take away all these things in your liver, in your intestine. It's very important. But this other one is also very important, especially I don't want to handle that issue, but I can just say, some people also say, I think can be handled in this meeting also, about low body weight. BMI, when your body so you have very low body weight, Dr. Fidelov, we can quote him, always say, even some patients they bring that are very thin, and he helps them to get to fast. But this is like, for me, this is like not applicable to everyone. It should to be like everyone. Yeah. People need to know that their body you need to have some fat. You need to have, you can't just be skin and bones and you want to go this long. It doesn't make sense anyway. We just check in nature, hope in nature. Thank you.
I mean, I totally agree, and that is why I'm making them longer apart. Not just that I want to build up fat between the fasts, I want to build up muscle, because I think you lose both. You lose fat, you lose muscle, and you will lose everything on the fast. You'll be losing vitamins, you'll be all sorts of different things. And I think it's vitally important to really spend time building your body in between. It's interesting that you're in Africa, and I don't know that this is applicable to where you are in Africa, but I'm a psychic, I'm a healer. And I'm seeing at the minute like nomadic tribes and where they go from well to well and grazing their cattle. And I can't say I know that much about them, but when they're with food, they spend plenty of time eating and resourcing so they can do the journey. And a long fast are a journey. And I will mention right at the beginning, I think it's important to mention at the beginning that when I started going on the dry fast, I didn't just do an 8.5 day dry fast or a 7 day dry fast. A friend of mine wanted to go to Villanova, or whatever his name is. I'm dyslexic, I can't remember names. And she described, you know, she was going to do a 3 day fast, a 5 day fast, and then go and do this long fast. And I thought about that, and I thought, well, one, I don't want to give my power away to someone else. I want to do it for myself in my own way, in my own time. I'm a bit stubborn, and I did it very slowly. I did a 1 day fast, then I waited a week. I did a 2 day fast, I waited 2 weeks. I did a 3 day fast, I waited 3 weeks. I did lots of 4 day fasts because with the blood work I was taking, my ketones weren't kicking in. So I just stayed at four days until on one of the 4 days, suddenly my ketones started working. It had fixed my liver. So then I carried on. I just carried on like that until I got to 9 days. So it took me 18 months to build, and my body slowly accumulated. So rather than just jumping in to a 9 day fast after 3 or 4 months, which I think can be quite shocking, my body got time to accumulate or understand or be with it understood what was happening on the fast, and it could gradually build up to it. So for people who are watching, I am not a professor. I am not saying that I know any more than anybody else. I'm just sharing how I did it, and I wanted to do it for myself, and I felt to go slowly and let my body discover it in its own way. So I just wanted to mention that I'm not advocating to jump into a fast quickly.
Very important, very important. It's a process. It's a process. The only difference is that sometime, and you see, this is what happens. People come to dry fast when they have serious health issues that they don't have correction on. They can't correct them in any other conventional means. So they come to dry fast when their bodies are already really wasted. And I think that's what brings the confusion. But everybody, all those people who have been following us, all those who listen to us, they know very well what you advocate for. We advocate for safety. We don't just want people to do things to, you see, this, you have done this without supervision at home this many times. But because the first thing that you are doing is safety first. Those breaks are extremely important. Those breaks are extremely important. Now, I want us to shift our focus on holographic. What is this holographic, and how is it related to fasting, holographic breathing, or whatever it is? I heard it only from you. I've never heard it from anywhere else.
I am the founder. I channeled holographic breathing. I will tell you quickly a bit about my past so that people will get an idea of who I am. Now, I'm quite an old soul as far as healing goes. I was in India, in Pune, in an ashram in the 70s with a meditation teacher. And I was learning meditation. He was supposedly an enlightened master. Well, I saw him as an enlightened master. And I learned healing and meditation and spiritual evolution. So that is where I started. And then I lived in spiritual communes for a long time. Then when I came out of that, I was working as a healer. So I just want to give people a bit of my background. And to start off with, in the 80s, towards the end of the 80s, I had a Tai Chi school. And I taught healing, Taoist healing, craniosacral therapy, Qigong, Daoyin, Tai Chi, all of those types of things. And then what may interest a lot of people here, in '96, whilst in Pune, in India, I was in Osho's ashram, people may know that name. I got bitten by a tick and I got Lyme disease. But I didn't know. I didn't know that I'd been bitten, and I didn't know that I'd got Lyme disease. And then 6 months later, I was visiting a healing teacher in Germany, and I got a tick. Well, it's the same healing teacher actually, and I got bitten again, and I got all the symptoms of neurological Lyme disease. So I got 2 doses of neurological Lyme disease. And there's so many different strains of Lyme disease. I just think I just got a mega, spectrum of spirochetes. And from that point on, from being very healthy, active Tai Chi, I had 150 students. I was teaching Tai Chi 40 hours a week. I was doing my own Tai Chi. I was like an athlete, kind of Tai Chi type person. After 7 years, I was bedridden, or close to being bedridden. So this is where the holographic breathing came in. And I was at the point of dying. I was I was shaking all of the time, and my skin was see-through. You could see through my skin. And I was just getting bronchitis and pneumonia and bronchitis and pneumonia. And I think if I got another dose of pneumonia, I would have just died. And I lay on my bed, and I said to whatever you want to call it, God, the creator, the higher self, the divine realms, I said, look, I'm just going to breathe, and I'm just going to let this disease take me. I don't want to die, but I'm just going to let it take me, because I want to energetically find out what it is. And there's this deep feeling of terrible tiredness with Lyme disease. And it was just going through me in waves, this tiredness. And the tiredness changed to the experience of dying. It was the waves of death. It was wave after wave of death, until I came out the other side. And it was as if I had died. And there were huge beings there. They were very quiet. But I don't know, didn't hear them say anything, but there was this, I was receiving or being in their presence of whatever that was. And then I slowly came back. I didn't die, I came back. And for people who understand it, my Kundalini rose after that. And for 2 months, I was just off my head. The Lyme disease went, but I just had this rushing energy and insanity going through me as the energy went through my brain and was connecting to the higher self. And towards the end of it, I just sat down and I was just breathing very gently. And I had been breathing into this area to open up my maxilla for about a week, and my brain, and I was just breathing like that. And it was becoming painful in my brain, so I just did it softer and softer, until at a point there was just this blinding flash of light, and this energy drove through my face and down into my jaw. And that awoke a cellular memory. My lips got pulled together, my tongue got pulled to the roof of the mouth, And with the lips closed, the jaw gently opened on the in-breath and gently closed on the out-breath, with the lips closed. And as that was happening, this breathing motion started spreading through my whole face, through my brain, through my whole body, through my organs. And I just felt this deep breath feeding every cell. I'm thinking, what happened? What happened? What is going on? What is this breathing? And the breathing of the maxilla that I've been trying to do before with this gentle motion, it was happening automatically. So my whole face was breathing and moving, and my whole cranium, my whole brain was breathing. And it was at that time that I got the diagnosis from Lyme's disease, and I knew the outcomes, and I started being able to use that breathing to heal my brain and to breathe with my brain and to let the toxicity come out my brain and release, because there were so many neurotoxins from the Lyme disease. With this breathing, suddenly I had access to my brain and I could breathe it, and I could see the brain cells and I could see the toxins releasing. And the Lyme's disease started getting better. So it was like I went to the point of death, but I didn't die. And it was like I started a new life. And it was like my friends dropped away. Everything I was doing dropped away. I didn't do Tai Chi anymore. I didn't do cranial work. And this whole new healing, spiritual download came into me. So when I did healing after that, it wasn't holographic breathing. It was it wasn't craniosacral therapy. It was the spiritual qualities of the holographic breathing. So my whole life changed, and I started getting better from the Lyme disease, and I healed the Lyme disease using that and using homeopathy and my own homemade homeopathy. And I can leave when you put this video out, I can put a video in the comments showing people how they can make their own homeopathic remedies, because people with Lyme disease generally don't have much money left. But I can leave a video for people to learn how to make their own remedies out of water, or homeopathic remedies out of water to heal Lyme disease. So, and then when I got the tests, it was showing that the breathing and the home had cleared the Lyme disease, but I was still tired. You know, I got my life back, but I never fully got my health back. And I was always wondering, well, have I totally got rid of the Lyme disease? And I think I had got rid of it, but I think what happens with Lyme's disease is that you can get rid of the spirochetes. But I mean, the spirochetes are very clever. I think they program your brain and they program your immune system not to work, so that the Lyme disease can carry on. And even if you kill the Lyme disease, I think that program is still there in the brain and in the cells, that the immune system never properly regains its strength. So I was always looking for something to help with that. And I think the dry fasting was what helped me take another layer. You know, I had cleared the spirochetes, but the memory of it and the structure of it and the injury to my glial cells, to the brain cells, and my injury to the immune system was still there. And I think it may be that I did have some spirochetes left, but I feel like these, and you know, people say, oh, it's hard to do a 9-day dry fast. For me, a 9-day dry fast is nothing compared to having Lyme disease. You know, the pain and tiredness that I felt in Lyme disease is nothing to the discomfort of a 9-day dry fast. So it's not hard for me to do a 9-day dry fast. And when I did the first, I did feel the symptoms clearing a lot, and I did feel my liver getting much better with the dry fasting. And you know, when I waited at doing 4 days for quite a time, and then suddenly my ketones started working, I think that was because my liver function and my pancreas function was starting, just getting over whatever happened through the Lyme disease. So it was slowly building up my strength and clearing my system so I could clear the after effects from Lyme disease. And then on the first 9-day dry fast, I wasn't sure whether I was going to do 9 days. I was just settling at 7 days because that felt like nice. And I got into it, I thought, no, I really want to do 9 days. And I made that intention. I thought, I'll make the intention. If I don't get there, it's fine. And as soon as I made that intention, and I spiritually, not only physically, but I spiritually prepare myself for a dry fast. And I think that is of utmost importance. I speak to myself and I speak to the spirits, and I say, you don't have to feel the spirits. I feel them and can see them and sense them, but you don't have to, you know, you can just say, I would like this. And I say, well, I really would like to address this in this dry fast. I want to be healthy. I want you to help healing me. I want the spirits, the spirit guides to come in, not just a dry fast, but I want the universe, I want the higher energies, I want the earth to come in and to heal me on the dry fast. And I think that is of utmost importance, because if you don't actually ask, it's not like, oh, we will do it automatically for you. You know, people say, oh, well, it gets spiritual on the 7th day. Unless you actively ask them, they're not coming in. So I actively prepare spiritually. And as soon as I'd made that, I was on the dry fast and I was sure, okay, I'm going to do 9 days. I started getting the spiritual entity of the Lyme disease. And it was this giant, energetic, spiritual tick. And it was like this bright, it was this mauve and green color. And I could feel, even though I'd got rid of the spirochetes and I was healing, on a spiritual and energetic level, that energy of the tick was still in my system. And I could feel, and it was big, you know, well, it's a big thing. And as the dry fast went through, that image became less and less until it was gone. And in things like that, it is important to talk to the spirits and the heart. Whether you see them or not doesn't matter. You can put that intention to, because they will help to take that out of you. It's like it will clear viruses, it will clear pathogens. But see, like if you've got a colony of pathogens in you, they're not separate. We're human beings, we're kind of separate, but they come as a colony, and that colony has got a connection to a spiritual colony of parasites. You know, it's that they have their higher self as well. And if you talk to your higher self, it can release those up into their higher self. So it really helps. So the colony of Lyme disease was kind of around this emblem and energy of this tick. And as that left, I felt it leave, and I felt my body, oh, and it wasn't with anger. It was like we had lived together for 20 years. You know, we kind of got used to each other. So it wasn't like it was, and it knew that, and it was like it had done its job. Whatever reason I needed to get the Lyme disease, that spiritual entity left. And then my whole body relaxed. Oh, thank God for that. And I've been carrying that in my energy the whole time. So whether I had the Lyme disease or not doesn't really matter. I was still carrying that spiritual energy. And for me, I approach dry fasting as a spiritual thing. I don't talk. I don't see anybody on a dry fast. I don't talk to anybody. It's just me on my own, going off on my own. And I guide people, or I suggest not to talk to other people or be in communication with lots of people, because when you speak on a dry fast, a lot of people get dry mouth. If you want to get dry mouth, just go and have a conversation with someone. It really, if you're breathing through your nose all of the time, it will keep you moist and it will keep your mouth moist. But if you breathe through your mouth and if you talk to people, it will dry out your mouth. And as a tip for people, many people get dry mouth, many people get dry mouth at night. If you get some soft surgical tape, and you just put it over your mouth at night, so you breathe through your nose, that will keep you moist inside, because as soon as you breathe through your mouth, you're really throwing out lots of moisture from your lungs and mouth, and you get a dry mouth. So one thing to help with dry mouth is, one, to put a tape over your mouth at night so you breathe. Two, don't talk to people. It's a retreat. Treat it as a retreat, and a spiritual retreat. It's not just that you're dry fasting, you're on a spiritual retreat, and it really helps just to be on your own. You need to do all the safety guidelines, but and also that with holographic breathing that I'm going to teach you at the end of this, it makes this like bubbling well of water. I never get a dry mouth in a holographic, in dry fast. It's always loads of moisture, because the holographic breathing, it is producing saliva all of the time. And also holographic breathing, you know, as I mentioned it, the lips are closed, the tongue is on the roof of the mouth, the breath is through the nose, and even though the lips are closed, the jaw is gently opening on the in-breath and the jaw is gently closing on. And this is like a subtle form of suckling. And if you practice holographic breathing, it will remove the effects of not being suckled properly as a child, and it will remove the addiction to eating. I'm not addicted to eating. When I go on a dry fast, it's a relief. And holographic breathing, one of the things that people on dry fast is, it's not just their dry fasting, they're releasing their addiction to food. But if you do holographic breathing, it takes all of this karma, because the jaw is continually gently breathing in this suckling type mode, and it's like a primordial, you know, suckling is a primordial energy, and around food, early childhood trauma or any trauma, the jaw becomes fixed, and because it's continually moving, then it removes that trauma, and it takes people out of the addiction to food. So even though I'm on a dry fast, I'm continually eating, because I do holographic breathing all of the time. My jaw is continually moving, so I don't get hungry. And also with holographic breathing, this breathing motion moves through the whole body. And it encourages the peristalsis and the movement of the organs and the digestive system. And normally on a dry fast, that just shuts down. And that causes a problem for people on dry fast, because if people generally won't go to the toilet on a dry fast, whatever they've eaten, whatever's inside them, when they, after maybe a day, if they haven't gone to the loo, that is there for the full 9 days, which can be uncomfortable and then give you constipation. I work with the holographic breathing, the digestion system, the pelvic floor, and I go to the toilet, not the same as normal, but normally I've cleared everything through by the 4th day because of the dry fasting. So that can be incredibly helpful to people, because it means they don't have to do an enema at the beginning to clear out the digestion before the fast. They don't have to do a pre-fast so there's nothing in their gut. I can just eat, and do eat, lots of food right up to the beginning of my dry fast, knowing that using the holographic breathing, I can just go to the toilet the same as normal, and that won't just set in me, and that my whole digestion can keep going. So there's a lot of benefits with holographic breathing for dry fasting. Did you want to ask me any other questions, Frederic? There's lots I can talk about, but I feel like I'm taking up all of the limelight here. Did you want to say anything?
No. I think good to flow, but somebody will be asking, because when you're talking that so many things are going out, give us idea who you are, what you have practiced, all that. You talked about Qigong, Tai Chi, all that you did before you got this Lyme disease. And then you also talked about this holographic, though you are going to to show us how it's practiced, but is there a relationship with that, with those things like Qigong, Tai Chi? Like, is it to do with, does it help with your energy? Is it have something to do with energy cultivation? Because when you are talking about it, I feel as if it also helps you with energy. Or that's what I'm making up. The holographic breathing that you're talking about. Is it
holographic breathing became my internal Tai Chi, like a higher form of Tai Chi. It replaced everything I did before.
Okay,
I used to go for a lot of sessions and do different things. Soon as I started doing holographic breathing, I could just clear everything for myself and build up my energies for myself and heal things for myself. So I use it for healing, meditation, energy cultivation, kundalini, the whole thing, really. Yeah.
Okay, now I got you.
Yeah.
But there's something very, very, very like I'll say it like, sometimes when I talk, I also laugh. So that's me. That's Frederick. I'm not that serious guy where we're like we in a very strict environment. This is always relaxed, because people just share their ideas, their mind, and what they're practicing, what they have experienced, and all that. So you have talked about some beings, and then I was like, what beings? When you are like having this near-death experience, that's how we call it, the normal way people call it out here, near-death experience. So that people can come back and then talk about this. That is very intriguing. I know most of you are going to be interested to hear about that. That is the only thing I think. As you are talking, those are the ideas that are coming out as I listen to you. And then you also said you are psychic. Did you say something like that?
Well, I'm a healer, and the way I teach holographic breathing, people, I teach it. I give free webinars. There's a free webinar next Sunday if people want to come to it, and I do some paid for webinars, and people will come to me for individual sessions. And since I've been teaching holographic breathing, and when people come to me for individual sessions, it's for trauma or something is going on, or they want to connect to their ancestry or absent healing, or and when I'm talking to them, I can see what is happening with them, and whether they've got spirit guides talking to them, or people, ancestry, or past lives, or I can feel it in their body, where the different things going on in their body. I feel all of this, and I talk to all of that, and the holographic breathing has just made me much more sensitive in that way. I'm not really clairvoyant so much, seeing things. I'm more clairsentient. I feel it within myself. I feel it, but it's kind of feeling and seeing, I guess. So, and I think because I'm working on Zoom and at a distance, it brings it in on a much more subtle level than when I used to do healing in person with people. I find it much easier working at a distance. And when I run Zoom webinars, especially when I do the meditation, I just feel these spiritual energies just pouring into me. I just start feeling really, really happy, and all the different pains or illnesses just completely leave my body, and I just start talking a load of stuff that I would never have talked before. And in the meditation, it's like I'm talking, but it's also the spirits are working on me. I'm feeling it in my body, and I'm talking to it, and it's relating to everybody. The whole energy and everything of the group coming to the surface, and I speak that out, and the spiritual energies come in and are healing. And it's not just my spiritual energies, it's those people's spiritual energies. So I don't really know how to put it into words, but I've been so long, my first job was a healer, so I've been doing this job my whole life. But with the holographic breathing and working on Zoom, it has become much more refined, and definitely with the dry fasting, that there is a spiritual side of that to me. So does that answer your question, Frederic?
Yes. Yes, though this idea of these beings, let me tell you why I'm asking you this. This is a mixed up group. This is a group that has people are coming from different spiritual backgrounds. So we have people who are strictly strong Christians like me. I'm a Christian. And we have people who are Muslims. We have people who don't believe in God. We have people who are from, I can just say, different religion. And because we don't want to always put like a line, say, okay, we are only associating ourselves with this. No, we realize that we have a health message, and this is what is universal. This is what is bringing us together. But people will get so much interested about these beings because in Christianity we can talk about two things: demons or angels. That's how they are grouped. We talk about angels. This is a spiritual being that is going to help you, and I talk about demon. This is a different, like opposite of angel. This is a spiritual being that is going to destroy, kill, like that. And then also, when you come to this holistic lifestyle that you now have, we talk about energies. So you have negative energy, or we can say low frequency energy, and then we also have high energy. So high frequency energy. So when you talk about these beings, I know people will be interested. They may even ask me questions about this. How about your interaction with these beings? How exactly can you describe them? And then
Okay.
how long? Yeah, how long did you stay in this kind of a state? And more details. People want to get more details about this. Though
All
we
right.
know the target is holographic, so that we don't take much time for the holographic breathing.
All right. Yeah. So I'm not sure which beings you're talking about, but when I went through the near-death experience, these are higher beings, and I wouldn't call them angels. I see angels are not quite as high as these were. These were very and when I work with people, you know, normally the people I work with just are talking about this realm, that in Christianity you may call it God or Jesus and angels, and they will call it subtle realms. I call it angels as well. I call it God as well. I call it the Creator, whatever it is for people. And if I work, like for instance, I had some very rich clients when I was doing healing work, and this guy who had helpers wanted me to work on his cleaner, and he paid me very well to do it, and she had cancer of the throat here, and this is the only time that a profound healing like the seeable profound healing had happened. She had this cancer on the side of her throat, and he wanted me to work with her. And she was from Portugal, and she's very Christian. So I'm working with her, and I let come through me whatever feels right to come through me. And with her, because she was Christian, and because she had this image of God and Jesus and Mary Magdalene, that is the energy that came through. I'm not unaware of the Christian energy and the Christ energy. And what came in, I could just see this little white church, stone white church near the coast on a hilltop. And I just described it as this Mary type energy, this just Mary Magdalene lovely energy started coming in. I had my hands on her throat, and it just poured in. So that is coming from her, because that is what she was used to, and that is what she was used to working in church with. So I was just helping what was in her, what her spiritual connections were, to come more alive. And anyway, I didn't think much more about it. And then I went back to work with this rich guy again the next week, and they were all quite amazed. And this girl had gone for a biopsy the next day, and the cancer had gone from being like a cyst. The cyst had just gone flat. It had disappeared, and they said there's no need for a biopsy. It's gone. So, you know, that Christian Mary energy was very profound and worked for her. So, and also, whatever your religion and whatever your God is, that is an energy, and I think they all come from the same place for me. They come from up here. It will come through in a way that is helpful for you. You know, I kind of went to church as a kid, but I wasn't really a Christian. For me, I'm just spiritual. I just feel what is there, and I do think sometimes what often can be seen as demons are sometimes just lower energies, like our sexual energies or deep earth energies, and these can feel a bit scary, but they're just a lower end of the same spectrum. So you might have angels and God up here, and you may have sexual energies, earth energies, which seem quite dark down here. And it doesn't mean that this is good and this is bad. They kind of feed each other. And I guess there's intentional, you know, like a lot of the stuff that is happening in the world at the moment, like in Palestine and places like that, just seems evil to me, you know. So there may be demons, people who do terrible things, who walk away from themselves and walk away from what is good and just and right in themselves to maybe get money or fame or do nasty things. Then maybe they do pick up what you might call bad entities. So yes, but I think we're all the same. Do you know what I mean? We just put it under different names, but those names do have a channel. When I work with Christians, I can feel this Christ energy or this Mary energy that's fitting together with their system. I'm sure it will be the same, a different energy with a Muslim, but still coming. Do you know what I mean? It's all part of the same matrix for me. And that entity, now you see, for me, you might have thought of it as an entity, this big tick, that kind of energetic tick that released out of me on that first 9-day dry fast. But I would never have come to that experience of having a near-death experience without getting Lyme disease. I never would have found holographic breathing without having the Lyme disease. I had a Kundalini awakening in 2012 that never stopped, where the energy is just continually, it's terrifying experience, and that energy never stopped, and it's there till this day. And that is common in Lyme disease, that if you have neurological Lyme disease, it breaks down the cellular structure, and people will start having psychosis and different things like that, or really different psychological problems. And there's not a lot of difference between psychosis and spiritual enlightenment and Kundalini awakening. They're kind of a very similar thing, except that when you go into psychosis, you're not properly embodying it, and it's quite often there because of emotional problems or traumas. Whereas where you go into a Kundalini awakening, you've cleared all of the traumas and the energy just goes through. But they're very similar experience. So the Lyme disease may have helped with my spiritual evolution there. And the Lyme disease's spiritual connection may have helped with my spiritual connection. Who's to say what is good, right and wrong? You know, we come into this life with karma, with things we need to work with, and we crystallize ourselves. We crystallize ourselves with our challenges, mentally, emotionally, physically, disease. You know, what we're fighting against, quite often it's quite good to fight with rather than against, because as soon as you put it in an opposite polarity, it becomes a fight. Whereas with the Lyme disease, I brought it into myself and allowed it, and that allowed me to clear it. I will give you an example of that. With the Lyme disease, and after the Lyme disease for quite some time, because my body was injured, I had no immune system. So I would get ill all of the time, and it would take me forever to get better. I would get the illnesses first, they would last the longest, and I was the illest. And it was like my body just didn't have, you know, I maybe had Lyme disease, but what was really pulling me down was colds, flus, bronchitis, things like that, different viruses really pulling me down. And I knew that my body, my immune system, didn't have the wherewithal to clear that virus. So say I had a virus, a flu virus. So, and I was coming to that point and I could feel I can't get rid of it. My body's just not strong enough. So rather than fighting that virus and thinking it's a terrible thing, I'd say, okay, hello virus. I'd speak to it, I'd say, hello virus, how are you? And I would sense that virus, and rather than fight, I would allow it. And I would allow it to come into my body. And the more I allowed it, I would feel that virus was a colony through me, and it would have a spiritual connection in the same way as we have a spiritual connection. So, and then what I would start doing was I'm channeling my own spiritual connection. I also start channeling the channel of the virus. Some people, oh, that's scary, oh, that's evil, oh, that's bad. No, it's just different. And by channeling that energy of the virus, I feel myself spiritually evolving. And I can feel that virus has a job. And it was like me allowing it and channeling, it was allowing it to go deeply into the cells. And it was often that the virus was taking toxins out of the cells. And I would allow the spirituality of the virus, I'd allow the virus, and it would somehow take toxins or something away, or inform my DNA. It would like upgrade my DNA. And in that channeling, it gets to a point where suddenly the channel of the virus moves back more into my kundalini and my channel, and the whole virus would leave through a very bright light, through my spine, through my head, and up into the higher self, because I've always had this kundalini. So by just allowing it, I had a way of clearing the illness, clearing the virus energetically, because my immune system couldn't do it, but I could do it energetically. And I couldn't do it by fighting against it. I had to allow it, and I had to allow its spirituality. And in the end, the intelligence of that virus's spirituality helped me and helped clear. It was like, okay, we've done the job, great, we're friends, you don't want us anymore, we're gone. And it would instantly get better. My immune system didn't have to kill it. Energetically, it was cleared, and the illness would leave. I've gone off on a bit of a journey there. Does that make sense to you, Frederic? I'm not sure if Frederic is still there. I will talk a little bit, because Frederic might not be there. I will talk a little bit, just looking at the time, I will talk a little bit about the energy levels of a 9-day dry fast how it works with me, and then it might be good for me to teach holographic breathing, because it would be going on quite a while. So I am the host now. Frederic, I think Frederic's internet might have gone down. So what I will do is we'll talk a little bit about the different energy levels of the different days of a 9-day dry fast. And for me, and what's very useful, is the first 4 days of a dry fast. For me, this really helps clear colds, flus, different diseases in the first 4 days. And then when that's over, the next stage from day 4 till day 7, for me this is clearing childhood diseases, the pneumonia I had as a child and different stomach things and digestive things. So from day 4 till day 7, it systematically clears my childhood diseases, which every 9-day dry fast has got smaller and smaller and smaller. So I think there's these resident illnesses that are bringing us down all the time, and between day 4 and day 7 it clears them, and each time it clears them they get less and less till they're just gone. And then from day 7 until day 9, it seems to go on to a completely different level, which I find quite hard in a way. It started this heat, this kind of a heat in the cells, and I find it very hard to be in my body and be with it, but I'm kind of getting better at it. And that starts in the digestion and works deeply through the digestion, and then it tends to rise up into the organs, the liver, the pancreas, the spleen, the duodenum, the kidneys, all around that level. And then it deeply, this heat working into the cells there, and then it will rise through the diaphragm and into the heart, and then out into the lungs. And that's normally on day 9. Now, I haven't gone past day 9 yet because it's been quite difficult. It hasn't felt safe because of the blood work, which I haven't talked about. I haven't gone past day 9. And I presume after that, day 10, it will probably, that deep cellular cleanse, probably on day 10. So I just wanted to mention those different levels that happen for me and may be different for you. All right, so I'm going to describe and demonstrate holographic breathing, and then we're going to do a guided meditation where I will take you into holographic breathing, and you can learn holographic breathing and you can take it through your body. And it's like riding a bike. Once it's happening, it starts. And what I think, and because it's been such a thing talking about the spiritual energies, I will teach you holographic breathing, and then we will include the spiritual energies. And when I speak about the spiritual energies, if you're Christian, they can be Christian spiritual energies. If you're whatever religion you are, whatever God you have, whatever image of that you have, you can allow that in. So I will teach the holographic breathing, and you can see how to use it spiritually to empower and heal yourself. So I will first of all describe holographic breathing. So in holographic breathing, the lips are relaxed and closed. The tongue is relaxed and on the roof of the mouth. I will go into that in more depth in the meditation, but the lips are closed. The tongue, the upper surface of the tongue, is on the roof of the mouth, and the breath is through the nose. And with the lips closed, on the in-breath, the jaw is gently opening, and on the out breath, the jaw is gently closing. And it's a small motion. It's about half a finger width, a few millimeters, and it just feels natural. Now there's a lot of very active breath works. I'm going to take my headphones off. If I need to speak with Frederick, I'll put them back in, but I'm going to take my headphones out. So there's many very active breath works on the quite physical ones. Holographic breathing is very meditative, so I will demonstrate that. You probably won't even see the motion of the jaw because it's slow and subtle, but you will notice that my lips aren't opening and closing with the motion, and you'll probably notice that it is quite meditative. So I'll just do 4 or 5 breaths. And as soon, you might notice my voice has got a lot slower. As soon as I start breathing in that way, and whatever, whether you're spiritually based, whether you're meditationally based, whether you're religion based, it gives that experience. It gives you a religious or meditative experience. Takes you into that realm. For new people learning this for the first time, it's really good to be seated rather than lying down. If you're lying down, you will more than likely go to sleep and miss the initiation. There is an initiation where it just starts. So for the first 10 or 15 minutes where I'm getting it working, it's good to be seated. As soon as it starts feeling automatic and you're just doing it, if you want to lie down, that is fine. But for new people, it's good to be seated. And if you do fall asleep, just play this start part again. All right, so we are going to start. This is the guided meditation to learn holographic breathing. We're going to bring in some resources to start off with. We're going to connect to the earth, to the Creator, to whatever your religious content is. Sending a smile, sending some energy to the earth, and allowing the earth to say hello back. And notice what that feels like through your body and through your energies. And sending a smile, sending some energy to your higher self, or whatever religion or context you hold the higher self, the Creator, whatever you call that, sending a smile, sending some energy to the higher self or the Creator, and allowing the higher self and the Creator to say hello back. And be aware of that, allow that, notice what that feels like. It's a very real thing, allowing the Creator to communicate with you. Feel it through your body and through your energies, and allowing the earth to communicate with you as healing for you. And sending a smile, sending some energy to the beneficial energies, to the spiritual beneficial energies. So these will be different for different people. These will be angels, divine teachers, divine energies, as long as they're beneficial, as long as you feel them as beneficial. Sending a smile, sending some energy to these beneficial energies, angels, higher beings, higher teachers, the divine realms, and allowing them to say hello back. Allow it, allowing them to reply. Notice what that feels like through your body and through your energies, and allow that to communicate through you to the earth. So it goes down through you, through your pelvis, down your legs, and connects with the earth. Like you are the earth, the higher self, God, all within you. And whatever I say in this meditation, if it doesn't fit with your experience or your religion, do what feels right for you rather than what I'm saying. This is a generic thing for everybody, and it may not quite fit with what your particular beliefs or context is. Just allowing yourself to be right and doing it in the way that feels right for you, and asking the earth, the higher self, and the beneficial energies to be with you through the whole meditation as your guide, as your energy. Okay, so I'm going to start teaching. So letting your lips come together and relax. The lips are together and relax. Bringing the upper surface of the tongue to the roof of the mouth, and the tip of the tongue to the front teeth. So, and having as much of the tongue on the roof of the mouth as feels comfortable. So you may have half an inch of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, you may have an inch of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, you may have the whole tongue on the roof of the mouth, but it must feel comfortable, whatever is comfortable. So the lips are closed, the tongue, upper surface of the tongue is on the roof of the mouth, the tip of the tongue is close to or touching the front teeth, and the breath is through the nose. Now this is just to get the sensation that you can move the jaw and keep the lips closed. So with the lips closed, just gently opening and closing the jaw. It's a bit like bouncing the jaw up and down, just a small motion, half a finger width. It's not a big motion. Just a bit like, may feel a bit like chewing, that you can move your jaw and you can move and you can keep your lips closed. You don't have to open your lips to open the jaw. You can let the jaw open a bit and the lips stay closed. You can close the jaw and your lips stay closed. And once you have that experience, we can just move on. And now slowing that motion down, so it's much slower movements of the jaw. And then when you feel ready, as the jaw is opening, letting the breath come in through the nose. And as the jaw is closing, letting the breath leave through the nose. Gently, the jaw is relaxing open, the lips stay closed, the jaw relaxes open, the breath comes in through the nose. The jaw relaxes closed, the breath leaves through the nose. Notice it feels like a little bellows. As the jaw is relaxing open, the breath is drawn in through the nose. As the jaw is relaxing closed, the breath is released out through the nose, and the lips stay relaxed and closed all of the time, and the tongue stays on the roof of the mouth. And it's not a doing, it's more of a drawing. The jaw relaxes open, the breath comes in through the nose, the jaw relaxes closed, the breath comes out through the nose. Now, as the jaw is closing, you can do it in two ways. You can either let the teeth gently touch together, or you can just let the jaw gently close and the teeth don't quite touch. So whatever feels best. The jaw relaxes open, the breath comes in through the nose, the jaw relaxes closed, and the teeth can either just gently float together or gently be slightly separate. Relax the back of your neck, relax the back of your head. Notice this bellows effect. The jaw relaxes open, the breath is coming in through your nose, the jaw relaxes closed, the breath is coming out through your nose. Now we're going to change the gestalt. We're going to move the emphasis from the jaw to the nose. Breathing in through the nose, the jaw relaxes open. Breathing out through the nose, the jaw relaxes closed. Notice it gets much lighter, much more meditative, much more energetic. Breathing in through the nose, the jaw automatically relaxes open. Breathing out through the nose, the jaw relaxes closed. Relaxing the back of the neck, relaxing the back of the head. Breathing in, jaw relaxes open. Breathing out, the jaw relaxes closed. The lips stay closed all of the time. Now we're going to start taking that through your body. Breathing in, the chest is opening, the jaw follows. Breathing out, the chest is closing, the jaw follows. Relax the back of the neck, relax the back of the head. Breathing in, the abdomen opens, the jaw relaxes open. Breathing out, the abdomen closes, the jaw relaxes closed. Notice you can get a really nice deep breath into your abdomen without any effort. Breathing in, the abdomen opens, the jaw relaxes open with it. Breathing out, the abdomen closes, the jaw relaxes closed with it. You can get right down into your pelvis. Breathing in, you can feel right down to the pelvic floor, the pelvis opening on the in-breath, out to the sides. The jaw is relaxing open. Breathing out, the pelvis is contracting back medially towards the middle. The jaw is relaxing closed. Notice you can feel it through your arms and legs. Breathing in, the arms and legs are opening with the jaw. Breathing out, the arms and legs are closing. And into the hands and feet. Breathing in as if the hands and feet are subtly opening and the jaw is opening with them. Breathing out, the hands and feet gently closing and the jaw closes with them. Gently breathing. Notice in a very subtle way that your whole face has started to breathe. The mouth, the nose, the sinuses, the eyes, the ears, the whole face has started to breathe. It's not just the mouth, it's spread through the whole face. And the whole cranium is gently breathing, opening on the in-breath, closing on the out-breath. The neck and the spine is breathing. Notice you can feel inside your brain. It's like the cranial sea and the brain cells breathing, opening with the breath, closing with the breath. Notice this breathing gives you a way of healing your brain. And if you've got neurological Lyme disease, it gives you a way of detoxifying the brain. All of those neural nerves and cells, they're all floating in this cranial sea, and as they breathe, they can release toxins, and these can release out through the nerves, out into the body and away. So notice you can use this to breathe with your brain. And breathe. And notice how nice it feels. Notice how it feels like you can breathe with every cell, like the nutrition of the breath, the prana of the breath is going into every cell. All the cells are breathing in on the in-breath through the whole body. All the cells are breathing out. And notice how it's galactic or universal. It connects to the universal energies, like you're breathing with the universe. You're reflected with the universe, opening on the in-breath, and the universe is breathing with you. Breathing out, and the universe is breathing with you. And notice you connect to the earth. This earth is a being. We are made of the earth. We are breathing. The earth is breathing. We're connected, sitting on the earth. And allow yourself to connect to the divine, be that God, Jesus, the higher self, Muhammad, Lao Tzu, Zarathustra, whoever it is, whatever that divine being, divine consciousness, creator for you is, allow yourself to connect with that higher energy. I'm just going to call it the higher self or the divine energies, but it's whatever it is for you. Allow yourself to connect with those divine energies, that divine consciousness, that deep healing. And allow that to shine down on you and through you. Allow yourself to be imbibed by God. Allow God, the Creator, whatever the name is for you, allowing that energy to download into you, that you become part of God. It's a bit like you are the bottom part of God. You are the earthly part of God. You are no longer an individual. You've got the physical part, the emotional part, the mental part, and then you've got the higher energies and the God part, and you are one being. And by allowing yourself to be part of God and God to be part of you, it starts a communication. And your energies can rise up into God, and God, or the higher self, can descend into you. And you can balance, and you can heal. You can be made one. And you can allow that, and illnesses and disease entities and things like that can leave you. Allow yourself to be healed and allow God to heal you through every part of you. And allow the illnesses, or whatever you want to call them, allow those to release out of you and rise up into God, into the higher self, into their own higher selves. And breathe. And just allow yourself, so you are no longer just this identity. You are no longer an individual. You are no longer separate. You are part of the divine. You are part of the earth and the divine meet in you. And breathe gently with the holographic breathing. And whatever your images are, whatever your gods are, allow yourself to heal. Call upon those energies and allow yourself to heal. Allow that to move down through you, through your head. Still doing the holographic breathing, allow those energies to move through your head, through your face, through your body, through your pelvis, through your sexual energies, through your legs, through your feet, and into the earth. Allow yourself to heal through and through. And in a way, you're not healing, you're just coming back to your birthright. You're coming back to your place aligned with the divine energies, aligned with God, part of the divine energies. And in that remembrance, in that realization, you are not who you once were. You are born anew. You are born part of God, part of the higher self, part of the divine realms, the divine energies, the healing teachers, the angels, all of the divine realms. You can heal from the divine realms, and your kundalini and energy from the pelvis, from the sexual energies, these can rise up through you, and as they do, they transform. They rise up through you, they rise up through your brain, and they rise up through the top of your head. This becomes the food for the gods. This energy rising from your pelvic floor and the sexual energies rising up your spine through your brain, it rises up into the gods. It becomes food for the gods, and the gods return the favor. They heal you, relaxing the back of the neck, relaxing the back of the neck, gently breathing, letting that slowly heal, letting yourself slowly settle. Breathe. And sending a thank you to the earth, a thank you to the higher self, beneficial energies, God, the creator, whatever you want to call it, sending a thank you. And also thanking yourself. And letting the energies go off for love and healing to the earth. Letting the energies go off for love and healing to the higher self and the divine realms. And allowing yourself to be healed and loved. And when you feel ready, gently allowing yourself to come back. Just put my headphones back in. So are you still with us, Frederic? I'm not sure Frederic's still with us. He might have gone to sleep or something.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, great. How did you find that, Frederic?
Are we done? Are we done for
Well,
today?
I got a few more things to say, but the meditation is over.
Okay.
I'll talk for a bit, and then we can talk together. All right. So you can carry on that in. I've got a free webinar that anybody can come to next Sunday. I have lots of free videos teaching in different ways on my website. That's all available. So that's all there if people want to carry on with this. Lots of stuff on YouTube, called Holographic Breathing on YouTube. There's lots of free tutorials there.
like clips, yeah. So I don't know if there's anybody who has a question from these people who joined us. If somebody has a question before we can wrap it up.
I have a question.
Yes, please go.
Yes, and thank you for the talk. Is very helpful. When you do your 9-day dry fasting and you monitor your glucose and ketones, can you explain how you are doing that?
Yes, I have a little ketone reader where you prick your finger and you put a bit of blood and it reads out the the ketones, and then I've got another one that measures the blood sugar. So I get the little machines out and I put these things in them, and you make a little prick on your finger and you just add a little blood to each one, and then it will give you a readout of the ketones and the blood sugar. And I also take the blood pressure and the blood and the heart rate.
Thank you for that. And one more quick one. Do you can you give us an idea of how, I may have missed this, maybe you said it already in the beginning, but did you heal your Lyme disease with a single dry fast, or did it take multiple?
I think I healed my Lyme disease first with holographic breathing and homeopathy, but then I was still injured from the Lyme disease, and it's got better. I don't see it. I don't approach it of, oh, I'm just going to do one long one and I get rid of the Lyme disease and then everything's done. I look at it more of a life, something that I include in my life, which is dry fasting. So I've done 7 9-day dry fasts, and each one, the symptoms of the Lyme disease or the injury from the Lyme disease has progressively got better.
Thank you so much.
And I've got a feeling everybody I've heard talk about Lyme disease, they've said that it's 10 or 11 days where they've really felt a substantial, completely getting better. I don't know if that will be true of me. I've never actually made it to 10 or 11 days. I've always got to 9 days, and that's been enough for me. I'm getting on. I'm 68 next Friday, so I'm quite old. I think it's much easier when you're younger. So hopefully that's answered your question.
Yes, it did very much. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And
Does
any
anyone
other?
else have a question?
Go on.
Okay. If you're done with this, if everybody's fine, that's good. So I don't know if you have any concluding remarks, or what did you want to do first to end before we can end?
I'm done. I've said everything I need to say. I've taught the holographic breathing. I've mentioned all the things that I've wanted to say. So I'm cooked. I'm happy.
Somebody says in the YouTube, she says, this seems similar to Stanislav Groves. Stanislav Groves. I
It's a
think it
load
was
of,
called
yeah.
holotrophic breathing.
It's not
Have you heard
similar.
of it?
It's not similar. The name is similar. The practice is 100% opposite. Holotropic breathing from Stan Grof is fast, connective hyperventilation. Holographic breathing is deeply meditative, slow, and a completely new breathwork modality. It's not connective breathwork. Holotropic breathing from strand growth is connective breathwork like rebirthing, and the practice of them, you couldn't get two polar opposite breathworks. So it may have a similar name, but the practice of it is completely different.